Well, cheers, I do, buckaroos, and how the heck are you? I am Don the Beer Whisperer. Had to close the curtains behind me because I was getting that glare there. Oh, mercy. So this just came out. Materfamilias, the beer formerly known as MILF. Anyway, I did get, I am getting two videos out of one beer because I did a live video. I saved the other half, as you see, poured in my mother's glass here to do the video. So let me read just a little bit from the bottle if I can get my bifocals to, there we go. One sip of Materfamilias shows why. This barrel-aged stout is the head of Mother's household. It requires the undivided attention of our brewery over the course of a year. Our Imperial Stout delivers intense, repeated malt flavor of chocolate and dried fruit. In the past, they've said they've aged, this is done with cocoa nibs and raisins, but it doesn't say that in this description here. Careful aging in bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum barrels imparts unparalleled depth, flavor, complexity, and aroma. Okay, bourbon, rye, brandy, and rum. Yeah, having drank just about half of it, I could tell you that everything there is exactly right. It is rather amazing. I don't know why exactly they changed the name. I don't know if, they were getting picketed. I don't know if militant MILFs were storming the door or telling them to change the name. Militant MILF. See, that's the name of a beer right there. Militant MILF. Anyway, I digress. I understand how the name can offend some people. I really do. But the other side of that is, so what? I mean, you can name it anything. I imagine somebody's offended by this name. Somebody's going to be offended no matter what the hell you do. I think they should have stayed the course. I think they named the beer something. I think if they had a pair of cojones, they'd have kept it that name. But anyway, but it's not going to stop me from buying the beer. Why? Because it's freaking delicious. But it's not going to stop me from having opinion about the other either, because after all, that's what I do. The beer reviewer is the play-by-play. They're going to give you specifics. I'm more the color commentary. I'll give you some flavors, but I'm going to tell stories. Some relevant, some not. That's kind of what I do. But anyway, back to the beer though. The nose on this thing is just absolutely amazing. Cocoa, dried fruit. Yeah, they don't say if they were specifically talking about aroma or flavor, but you really feel it on both ends. You do get a lot of the cocoa and dried fruit notes. Raisin, I certainly feel like I'm getting a lot of raisin. I also mentioned it in the live video that I felt like I was getting a lot of cherry notes as well, kind of like a rum-soaked cherry kind of feel to it. Somewhere between a rum-soaked rum cake or a or a brandy-soaked fruit cake. Kind of somewhere between those two. A lot of those cocoa notes initially on the flavor. Which gives way gradually to some toffee notes. You certainly feel some vanilla and toffee from the bourbon barrel. I feel just a hint of spice from the rye, but I really feel the rye more in the finish. It sort of couples with the oak. You really feel some of those rye barrel notes in the oak right at the end. But I have to say that the dominant barrels are the brandy and the rum. I really feel a lot of the brandy and rum. And if I had to rank them in order as far as how they come across in this beer, I'd say brandy, rum, bourbon, and rye. But no, the only thing wrong with this beer is this crazy-ass name that they decide to stick it with. I mean, it's not catchy. Hey, you tell someone you're drinking a mother's milk, they know what you're talking about. This name isn't going to roll off anybody's tongue. But hey, I'm going to assume the good folks at Mother's knew what they were talking about. I think they thought they were being clever, but I think it was a swing and a miss. Yeah, you know, I get it. I mean, I get how some would have been offended by the name, but again, so what? People are offended no matter what you do. You know, if you make a mistake, admit you're wrong. But I don't know that they were wrong, because that's what craft beer does, isn't it? I mean, craft beer these days anyway. Back in the early days, the 90s anyway, it was just about making good beer. The beer just had a style name on it. But that's evolved, and it seems like beers are sold more for their clever, catchy names than quality most of the time. And MILF certainly was that. If I said MILF, even folks that did, you know, that weren't extremely familiar with Mother's Brewing, they knew that beer. And so I think keeping that in mind, I think changing the name was a mistake, but we'll see. Is that going to stop me from buying the beer? Hell no, it's a great beer. I mean, still, I mean, I've said it in past videos, both on my channel and other folks' channel, that if I was, you know, if you only had to pick one beer to drink the rest of your life, it'd be this one. Why? Because it's just that good. I don't know that there's a barrel-aged imperial stout of better quality out there. This is head and shoulders above that one that everybody stands in line for. That pseudo crap that everybody stands in line for on Black Friday. I mean, it's not even a comparison. That one has a little higher ABV, but so freaking what? If we're talking quality of beer, yeah, I mean, this one kills it. I mean, it's not even close. So yeah, if I was only to drink one barrel-aged imperial stout the rest of my life, it'd be this one. Even with this goofy-ass name, they decided to stick it with. So there you go. Oh. And the flavors, man. I've had this open for quite some time now. As I drank probably just shy of half of it to do a live video, poured the rest of it in here to do this video. So we're probably talking about 30 minutes that it sat in this glass. And the more it sits in this glass, the more aromatic it becomes. Upon drinking it, I mean, as I drink this, even the flavors become more intense the more it sits. I typically like my craft beer just a little bit colder than most geeks do. If it recommends 55 to 60, I tend to probably like it about 50 to 55. This one is probably recommended at about 55 to 60, and it really probably ought to be drank about that. This is a perfect cellar temp beer, and this is exactly why, you know, you don't want to get a beer like this cold. You are going to lose a lot of the flavors the colder this thing is. As it warms, man, it just becomes very inviting. So there you go. And a MILF by any other name would still be just as tasty. Anyways, I digress. I am Ton of Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific beer drinker, beer wisdom man. All around good guy. Man, that's one tasty beer. Remember, folks, life is serious. Beer shouldn't be. Treat everybody well. I got to